Oh, you know by that song that it is time for Wild Pitches. Aris and Mick back with you again.
How's it going, world?
How's it going? What's up, dude? Good to see you.
Hey, man. You know, your facial hair is gone.
I know. I look like a different guy.
Well, you know, still 100% handsome, just, you know, in a different vibe to it.
Well,
you know?
My wife says I look friendlier. I
Friendlier.
I don't even know what that means. I like the facial hair. Honestly, I thought it was fun.
You know, my negligence keeps going here. It's crazy, looking like a caveman. Christ, definitely need to shave.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, look, it's fun. It is fun though when you have like, you know, I love the mustache. Like, and I've always wanted one of those, and I thought it was fantastic. It's weird though. The people that like the mustache love it, and the people that don't like it don't like it. I mean, like, it's not. There's no in between.
They're hating. You know.
You know what I mean though? Like by that, like when you say that there's no in between, it's like, you know, my buddy used to tell me that 9 out of 10. He would say 9 out of 10 women don't like it, but the 10th woman loves the mustache. And he would say like you would get looks and stuff. I don't know if that's true. Like if somebody's out there, Tom Selleck can wear one, you know, and he looked cool with it. And Dale Earnhardt Sr. was the other guy. I thought like, you know, no one's, you know, more badass than Tom Selleck and Dale Sr.
Yeah,
know, so.
You're right. You're right. But alas, now you're more, you have more face there, more kissable, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Rather than just stroking your facial hair, you know, it's more, more cheek and sweaty upper lip. So
I don't know how sweaty, but yeah. All right. Now I got your name on the banner, so at least we feel official.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's talk some goings on. We had our first ever, wiener night. We had our first ever, free hot dog night, which I'd never heard of before. And Chris Franklin, the guy we call Fuzzy, said that over 5,000 dogs consumed.
So that means we had an attendance that night of like 5,200 or so. So that means everybody pretty much had a hot dog. I'm sure there were some that didn't have any, you know, but the majority of the people, I'm assuming, had at least a couple of them. So
yeah, how many, if you would have been down there to do that, just say as a fan and you came in, would you have like been like when I was a kid, we used to go to the Smorgasburg and you knew it, like Friday night, we're going to the Smorgasburg, which was our local, like Ryan's or whatever, Golden Corral type joint. And I wouldn't eat. I mean, like I wanted to go in and I thought that I had to get our money's worth, you know, that's $7.99. I had to go in there. Sometimes it was kids eat free. I remember my mom telling me to pretend I was a year younger.
Sure. Yeah. We've all had that. Yeah, of course. You know, try to save a buck. I mean, I do that to this day, you know, the big ticket, shout out to Brett Adams down there in the sales office. But whenever that dude brings up, hey, do you want to go to the Chinese buffet?
Oh, I love the Chinese buffet.
I'm like, you got to give me 24 hours notice because I am not going to eat because I want to just make myself feel absolutely disgusting afterwards.
Oh, look.
I love Chinese food.
Me too.
Like, I could just eat it every single day. Honestly, I really could. All the different types of things that Chinese food have, the noodles and the chicken and the steak, whatever it is. And it's just like, I need to have a little bit of leeway here to know that's like, I can't eat a big dinner the night before because I'm going to go out to Chinese buffet for lunch. So, you know, if I were to come out to the ballpark and I knew that was going to be free hot dog night, you better believe I didn't eat the whole day.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah. No, and I'm in Chattanooga. There's a place that we go to with Larry Ward, their broadcaster. That's a Chinese all you can eat buffet. And it's not too far from the hotel. And, I love everything about the place, like except the stomach ache that I have afterwards. But I've got to have the General's chicken, which it's not the best General's chicken, but it's not the worst. It's you know, mid-level, you know, 7 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10, but it's good enough. Crab wontons. Yeah. Their sushi is not, you know, the best sushi, but they have it, you know, and then like the Mongolian grill, you know, I'm doing that. It's not the best, but it's, you know, but I'm also paying like $10 and I get to eat all this stuff. Yeah. And then the dessert bar, you go to the dessert bar. Got to have the pudding.
And the pudding, the little Chinese donuts they have. It's so delectable.
I know. I'm going to have to go there now. You got me thinking about it.
Man.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. So I think if I was coming in and I was just like a regular, like it wasn't the game I was working, but I was just a fan. and I was coming into a hot dog night like that, I could do at least 5 dogs. I think that'd be a lot for me.
Right.
But that would be like if I prepared
your body.
Yeah. I think I could do a legit 5 dogs. And also part of that too is, like I'm a condiment guy.
Sure.
So I means I'm always ketchup and mustard if it's not a Chicago dog. Now, if it's a Chicago dog, that's totally different. You're talking about another level of hot dog, right? But I like relish, and I like onions, and I like cheese. I mean, like you say, hey, try this on a hot dog, I'll try it. Like I'm not one of these guys like I gotta have mustard and that's it.
Right. No, I mean, that's the true thing. I feel like hot dogs are something where you could just dress it up and do whatever. I mean, there's dessert dogs out there. They put freaking random stuff like Skittles and Nerds on there and people eat it, But, are you familiar with the 9-inning challenge?
No.
The 9-inning challenge is something that people do at major league games, minor league games, whatever it may be, maybe even high school games, depending on where it is. And, you go out there and you're trying to have a hot dog and a beer for each inning out there. So at the end of the day, you're having 9 hot dogs and 9 beers.
Wow.
So, and,
make sure you get a driver.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you're going to be throwing up at the end of the game, just based off the hot dogs alone, and then all of the beer in there sloshing around. Hopefully the buns are at least soaking up some of it. So I wonder if anybody did that last night. Maybe I should have just took the game off and sat down in section 108 and just enjoyed having 9 beers and 9 hot dogs, and you just get a camera on me and see, how I'm doing, little interviews here and there. It's like, all right, first couple innings, oh, this is great. This is easy. I'm having so much fun. Then maybe around inning 6 or 7, you're really starting to feel it. And by inning 9, you're done and toasted.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if I could win that challenge, and I'd have to have a driver and a trash can, but it'd be fun, like to do that. Even if it was just like, maybe something could be like where you split the hot dog with your friends, and maybe you do like we do on the beer show, and we'll sometimes on my beer podcast, we'll just split the beer, so you're taking like 3 drinks of it, but you're talking about what it tastes like. And a lot of times that's because I got this to do. And it's like, I'm not trying to drink to get drunk or anything. I just want to, I got to do this podcast, and we like, that's basically like a sample, but that's cool. I mean, I think that's awesome, man. That'd be a lot of fun to do that. I'm sure some people, there was a huge crowd. Matter of fact, the last 2 Tuesdays have been better than I'd say a majority of teams in this league's weekends.
I mean, I would say that we're really crushing it, to be honest. And even, one of the toughest days that you try to, I would say that, the toughest day to try to sell baseball is on a Monday, but they got rid of that, with our new schedule. But the other thing is like our Wednesdays. And I'll tell you what, dude, we have, for those that have never been to the ballpark before, we have this big porch out there in the outfield called Yeehaw at the Yard. I'm sure Mick has mentioned it before.
All the time.
Yeehaw, delicious. And
great beer company. I'm not saying that because they're a sponsor.
Right. No.
I'm not to interrupt you, but I'm just telling you, like, of all the beer shows and everything, the very first show I did was a Yeehaw Winter Porter. And it was because I knew it was good. And I mean, way back in COVID times, but it's really neat to have them here because they're one of Tennessee's top beer companies.
And, I'm not from Tennessee, but like I knew about Yeehaw Dunkel before. That was something that gets passed around here and there whenever we go out to a bar. They have like, oh, we have this today. We have these special cans or whatever. So that was the one thing I've heard about before coming out to Tennessee. But anywho, we have this Yeehaw at the Yard. It's this big deck out there, seats 700 people, and we do all you can eat out there every single game. And on Wednesday, you could do individual tickets rather than purchasing a group sale. And we absolutely have been crushing it on pre-sales on Wednesdays out there. So that deck out there is sold out every single Wednesday. We sell 700 tickets out there for that all you can eat. Just going back to those hot dogs, I guess.
Right.
Where it's in the mood for eating as much as you can. So we do pretty well on Wednesdays as well. I mean, you've been around, you've seen the different ballparks that are here in our league out in Pearl, Mississippi, and in Biloxi. I mean, are they pulling people here on a typical Tuesday or Wednesday game?
No, and I mean, some of them do, but I'd say that our attendance and Pensacola's attendance kind of mirror each other. You know, that's the one place I go, and I feel like it really kind of matches what we do.
Yeah.
And there's other successful teams. I don't mean it like that, but they're the team that when I go there, it kind of feels like here, you know, like where they put an emphasis on, you know, being very friendly to the people that are in the games. You can feel that when you come here, we're supposed to be America's friendliest ballpark. And that's something that we all take seriously. And part of that saying hi to people and helping, even if it's not your area, if you're there, you know, and someone needs your help, just help them, you know, whether it's open the door or tell them how to get somewhere or, you know, find something. But you just want people to walk through the gates and think, oh, you know what? Like, I like it here.
Sure.
You know, and to me,
welcoming.
Welcoming. Exactly. And so they do a great job of that. And I know we do too. But we're not the biggest markets in the league, you know, either, you know, so they're actually smaller than we are, but we both do really well all week long, you know. I mean, but to see the Tuesdays being like colossal like they've been, it's been crazy, you know.
Right.
And now that'll change when school starts a little bit.
It's almost there, right?
I know. School's starting. But I mean, and because kids can't stay up, they got to go to school. You know, I remember as a kid going to some Orioles games on a school night, and it was a big deal. You know, like there had to, like, you know, you knew, like, I don't know, you're going to a Wednesday. I was a big Angels fan back when the leagues didn't play each other. Yeah, so they were like the out of town team that I wanted to always see. So if they came in and it was like a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you know, or I would try to get to one of those games somehow, and a lot of times I'd be on a school night. How about you? Did you
living on the edge?
Yeah. That happened a lot though, but when it did, you know, like the next day in school, you'd be tired but happy, you know. Yeah,
I mean, it's the truth too. You know, like growing up as a Phillies fan, you know, the Phillies were really bad when I was growing up. It wasn't until, you know, the 2000s with like Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley that we were good. You know, growing up as, you know, like a young child, it was where they used to give out like free tickets to Phillies games on like hot dog packages, like Ballpark Franks. It's like, take this barcode and go to Veterans Stadium, and then you get to go into the game for free. Yeah, it's crazy. So they just couldn't put butts in the seats there. But then, you know, they got a new stadium in 2004, and now it's like one of the oldest. Crazy to think about. But you know, they've been successful since. But going on that, it's just funny because tickets, even for a product that people weren't really going to every single day, tickets were cheaper to go, you know, for those weekday games rather than going on the weekends, you know? Right. So, you know, I went out to the game a couple times, driving, drove out there to Philadelphia, about 45 minutes, an hour away to the ballpark. And yeah, you're out late. And, you know, the game was going by much slower than it is now with all the rules and everything like that. And, you know, by the time you get back, it's like midnight or so, or even later. And it's like, well, you know, I got to go pack my lunch and get ready for school again tomorrow, so. Yeah, look, and you went to Veterans Stadium. I went to Memorial Stadium, which is the old Baltimore ballpark. And it was the same thing. Like we didn't have a lot of money. So there weren't a lot of like going to the Orioles game on dates where you didn't get like some kind of a deal. But they used to do Giant Foods had a deal where you could go on Sunday for $1. So we went a lot for $1, and then they just throw you in the outfield. And then, you know, back then the team wasn't great, and you could just kind of do the same. Like we'd end up in the box seats. I think like as the night would progress or the day would progress, we would get closer and closer to home. And then by like the like the 8th, you're sitting behind the dugout. Yeah. And that was the days before the netting. Right. You're sitting back there, and I mean, it looked like the game was 100 miles an hour. Right. Right. It's crazy. I mean, yeah, I can't say that I really know anything about it because like the netting has just always been there. And, you know, there's some ballparks where the netting's literally from the foul poles all the way around, you know, so it's crazy to think about. I mean, here at Smoky Stadium, we have it from the dugouts and everything. And I mean, just being closer to behind the plate is always so exciting to me. There's one game in particular that I remember, like my buddy had really good seats. We went for his birthday. He's a big Cardinals fan. We lived in California. We went to the Dodgers game. So it was Cardinals, Dodgers, and it was Lance Lynn against Clayton Kershaw, and they both pitched 8 innings in that game. They both give up just 1 run each, and game win extras, and the Dodgers won like in the 12th inning. But it was just like so exciting to see these 2 guys just hurling it down there.
Yeah.
You know, really showing it. I mean, I'm a big guy when it comes to how much the defense can do. You know, I'm all about seeing home runs and all this other stuff, but like when a guy's dealing, I love it. So
me too.
It was so fun.
Like
watching
a good
these 2-1
game.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I mean, like, and I don't know that the game really is built for that anymore. You know, like you go to Japan and they're kind of like all the baseball fans in Japan love those like really close games. Yeah. You know, but for us, it's like, you know, we're all about home runs and big scores, and you know they're doing everything they can to make it easier on the offense and tougher on the pitching, you know, and the defense. But I'm with you on that. It's a crisp game played with good defense and pitching. To me, is a fun day. Plus, it's a pretty fast game normally.
I just think it's so much more satisfying to win a game 2-1. Like, wow, we really dueled them in it, rather than it's 10-9. You know, there's some sloppiness that takes place in that, and the wheels just fall off, and it's feeling like, oh, anybody can get a hit out there, you know? So I just feel like it's way more satisfying to get a dub that way. So,
hey, talking about baseball, how about the Smokies? First place in the Southern League North in the second half. They had a really disappointing end to the first half. And the reason I say that is because they were the best team.
Yeah.
But they didn't win. And, you know, there's a lot of factors why, but the better team didn't win. And that's no shot at Chattanooga. It was just that Chattanooga played well and the Smokies didn't down the stretch. And so
you see that a lot, though.
That happens. I mean, and it's a short half, but hats off to the Lookouts. I mean, they did what they had to. And you just kind of shake your head at the Smokies because, you know, you're like, man, we got all this talent and it didn't happen. But to kind of reverse that, second half, they've come out and they've been on a mission. They look like the team that we thought they should be.
Boy, and they are really showing what they can do with the bats recently. Owen Casey's just been on an absolute tear. BJ Murray is doing well. I mean, these guys are doing really great out there, and we just had a new pitcher debut last night.
Yeah, Cade Horton, and he was great too.
And what do you know about him?
Well, Horton was the Cubs' first-round pick last year, 7th overall out of Oklahoma. He's just got this amazing slider. He's ace stuff. I mean, I'm telling you right now, he is ace stuff because of the breaking ball and the fastball velocity. He's got command. It's gonna be exciting to see what his career looks like. I mean, part of it's staying healthy, but they did a good job in the draft when they took him.
Last night, he was shoving. He really was. And he's so quick, too. And maybe that's something that's going to be the norm now with the pitch clock and everything. But, boy, the moment the catcher throws that guy the ball right back to it, he's ready to go. He's on the rubber, you know? So, I mean, I was very impressed for his first time out there. And, you know, this is against the Lookouts. Now, granted, it's not the same team that won the first half, a couple guys that are missing, but still a really great opponent, and he shut them down. 4 innings.
So. Joe Boyle, their ace, was traded at the deadline, the Lookouts and the Reds. And then DJ Hurts, who I wouldn't say was the Smokies ace, but he was a good pitcher. He was traded in the Jamer Candelario trade. And that's an interesting trade for us because they traded Hurts and then a lower minor league shortstop for Candelario, who was with the Nationals, but came up here. He was actually a Smoky guy we really, really liked. And then, you know, he had gotten dealt to the Tigers, spent some time there. Then the Nationals is having like a breakout season. And now he's back with the Cubs. So it was really cool to kind of see that full circle.
It's really weird, you know, because Candelario was here with the Smokies. And then.
Were you here with him?
No, I was not.
I'm trying to remember if you were still here.
But, you know, I know him as being a Tiger, you know, for those years. And then it's just so weird to think about how with the Nationals, how much he's been crushing it. Similar to how Schwarber did it in that one year with the Nats, too. I mean, my God, that guy was just on fire, you know. So. Now back onto the Cubs, and the Cubs have been surging. They've scored 36 runs in the last 2 games. Really weird to think about.
I know. I love it. I love it. Look, I mean, like, I know I work with the Cubs, but I've been a Cubs fan forever. You know, I just love the Cubs. And You know, I always say there's two Micks. There's the objective, like journalist Mick, and then there's like, guy in the bleachers, give me a beer bat. Let's make a cup snake.
Yeah.
Let's get out there and scream and yell at the Cubs. And so I wanted them to sell. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I didn't see this coming. Yeah. And I knew that the market this year was, let's put it like this. The Mets just rebuilt their entire farm system.
Whoa. Well, yeah. Just now,
they just
those
did.
Guys away.
Yeah, and they had made some deals that you look back on and you're like, man, that wasn't a great deal. They just rebuilt their system. There's going to be some guys that come through and you're going to be like, how did the Mets get this guy? Oh, yeah, trade deadline. Same thing with the Cardinals. Cardinals did really well.
Oh, yeah.
In the trade deadline, too. So for those two franchises that had kind of a really weird off year and no one else was selling, they go out and sell. And I thought, well, the Cubs with Cody Bellinger, I mean, he's going to bring back a huge ransom, right?
Yeah.
But they just figured it out. Dansby Swanson, who played in this league, the Southern League, with the Mississippi Braves, he's just been so good.
Yeah.
I mean, really has been. Like, you got to give the guy credit. He's a great player. I mean, he's a lot better than I thought when they signed him. And he's one of those players like Cal Ripken Jr. You just have to watch it every day to see all the little things that he does that aren't necessarily going to show up with analytics, right? Or in a stat page, but he makes the difference. And when he's healthy, the team's good.
So even, he's a household name, I believe, if you like baseball, and people loved him back in Atlanta. So you think he's really impressed you even more than those times in Atlanta this season? So
I look, when the Cubs signed him, they signed him to a 7-year contract, and he was probably the third most sought after shortstop in in baseball free agency. And I think that most teams would have said, hey, a 5-year deal would have been perfect for the team, but to be able to sign him, you got to give him 7. That's just, because you're outbidding the other contenders. And you look at his stats and he's like a, 275 guy and then, 20 home runs and all that, but it's more than just the stats. There's just this star power that he brings.
Yeah. He's
won a World Series. He's confident. He did that in his hometown. Now he's playing with the Cubs, and when he's not there, it's just not the same team. So he's healthy right now. And I'd say him and Ian Happ are the two guys that I look at with the Cubs and I go, they're the leaders of the team, whether they are the vocal leader of the team or just the way that they show up. Ian Happ came through the system and earned that job. Right. I mean, he earned it. He earned that spot. He makes big plays. His defense got a ton better than it was. He won a Gold Glove last year, which really goes to show how hard he had to work because he wasn't a great defensive player when he was here. And so that he's always been able to hit, but he's gotten even better at that. He just looks the part. He's just grown into being a star. But there's a long season ahead, and there's a lot of baseball left to be played. But if the Cubs are winning, I think it really helps us win too, because they're not making a bunch of moves to throw the players that are with the Smokies into the big leagues. And, we've said this over and over again. We want to win a championship here. We haven't won one since 1978, and it's time.
Yeah. And, just going off of what you said, I think when I think Chicago Cubs, I think Ian Happ, Hendricks, and the skipper.
Yeah.
I think those are the guys that people think of when they think of the Chicago Cubs. And weird to think about, but Nico Horner too, it's crazy how he was just here in 2019 and he's just becoming like that guy. People love that guy with the Cubs. And the Cardinals, you know what? Like, this is their worst year since like 1959 or something like that. Ooh, it must be really tough to be a Cardinals fan out there.
Well, and the reason why is that the expectations were high. It's not like they came in thinking they were going to tank. They got Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado and Tyler O'Neill and a bunch of really good players. They signed Wilson Contreras from the Cubs, and you would have figured that this would have been the year where you're like, you know what, we're going to break out, and it just has been awful.
And this division, they're in with the Pirates. They had a really hot start, and now they kind of fizzled out a little bit. And it's like, man, the Cubs can take this division, huh? Who would have thought about that back in March or April, whatever it was? So do you think they have the chance for the for the pennant at all?
Look, I mean, they're really, 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 really long shots. According to Fangraphs, they're like 1% chance to win the World Series. Well, let me update that. So I'll pull it up while we're sitting here talking.
Me being a Phillies fan, I did not expect the Phillies to make it all the way. A lot of people didn't think that the Phillies were going to make the World Series last year, but even in their first game in that wild card game to begin the playoffs, they're down 2-0 in the ninth inning. They come back, win the game, and all of a sudden, they have the heat behind them. And it's all about just getting on a streak. And once you're feeling yourself, you're really a tough battle for anybody else out there.
Right, and that's what you hope for. That you just catch fire and kind of build off of that. Right, Cubs right now, Fangraphs 1% chance to win the World Series. 34.4% chance to make the playoffs. That's up from
that's huge.
Yeah, that's up from what was it? It's like 15% or something a little over a week ago, right? To win the division, 22.8%. And so, I mean, that, to get to the World Series, that doesn't say it on here, but I'm guessing that it's really low probability. But you're right. I mean, every team goes into the season trying to have a year like the Phillies did last season, right? Where you're not really expected to be there. The Phillies had a great roster. They just didn't put it together last year, though. But you know what? Looking at the Cubs right now, I mean, they filled some holes. Adding Candelario to be able to play the corners and Bellinger at first base, it takes that spot off the field. Now you got somebody that can really produce there.
Yeah.
And then you've got an abundance of outfielders. Maybe moving Pete Crow Armstrong, Hollywood Pete, to AAA means that they're getting him ready to be a guy that steps up and plays center field for them. And I think he'd provide them a spark. So, is it a good long-term play? Probably not. But you know what? I think he would go up there and immediately pay dividends. So
he certainly seems like a guy that would be a September call up, and at least with his speed, on the base paths, give him a shot out there to see what he can do.
He's not going to be overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just not in his personality. I worry about the adjustments that he needs to make long term. Just being more patient at the plate, taking the walks when they're there. Bunting, hitting the ball the other way. But I mean and when I say that, I'm talking nitpicking, because his outfield defense is great. He runs the bases better than anyone else the Cubs have right now. He's electric. He brings that fire and energy. It's contagious, and if you're on a team that is really trying to win, which isn't what we're doing here in the minor leagues, but there they are. They care about everything. They're not sitting there looking at analytics and pitch counts and innings limitations and all that. They just want to win.
Yeah.
You put him on a team like that, he's going to make that team a lot better. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's talk promotions. That's one of the fun things that we get to do. And Pete the Cat is coming Friday.
From one Pete to another, yes. So Pete the Cat.
Hollywood Pete, Pete the Cat.
It's an interesting
2 stars.
transition.
2 stars.
2 with big shoes to fill, right? Pete the Cat wears 2 different shoes, actually, as part of his style. Now, did you read him, Pete the Cat?
Yeah, we have Pete the Cat books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he has his own YouTube, Amazon series and all that. I watched an episode just to get involved in it. So just because I don't know who Pete the Cat is doesn't mean a lot of people don't know who Pete the Cat is. And a lot of people know who this Meow Meow is. So he has plenty of books, and he'll be coming out to the ballpark today, because today we're recording this on Thursday, but we're putting it out on a Friday.
Yeah. So tonight. Yeah, come on out.
He'll be here and, meeting and greeting with the best fans in the Southern
That's
League.
so much fun. Like, we have a Pete the Cat plushie at our house, which is what they call stuffed animals now.
Plushies.
Yeah. And that was I think Santa Claus might have brought the Pete the Cat. But when my son would bring books home, they'd be like from school. Some of them would be Pete the Cat.
Yeah.
So see him in there reading.
So tell me about this cat. Like what makes him
just cool? He's just a cool cat. So. He's just kind of doing different stuff, like riding skateboards or putting shoes on and stuff. I mean, like,
right.
He's just really just teaching kids to do different stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's a nice cat.
Totally unrelated, but kind of somewhat related, because it seems like this cat is a jack of all trades, you know, like a Renaissance man type of guy, at
Yeah.
least for the younger ones. I do not go to the movie theater very often. I really do not. But I went with the fiance over the weekend and saw the Barbie movie.
Oh,
So,
dude, I'm
because
glad you brought it up.
She was so excited about it. You know, she had all the different Barbies. She has, Barbie ornaments on the Christmas tree.
Where has this been all these years?
Her and the Barbies?
No, the Barbie movie. Like, why
yeah.
did it take this long to do a Barbie movie?
It makes no sense. You know, it's like, hello, the things didn't click in someone's mind. Like, we should do this, make a full.
So was it like a comedy?
Film. Well, it was trying to be a comedy. I'll be very.
What would you describe it as? Like 90210-ish type of thing? Remember that show?
Yeah, you know, there was funny parts about it, but it felt as if there was too many like inside jokes with the writers or something, and a lot of the stuff was going over my head.
Okay,
to be honest,
yeah.
You know,
did you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Meh.
Thumbs down.
I would do thumbs down just because I feel like there could have been a lot more that happened.
Right.
They had me in the first half.
Right.
They had me in the first half, and all of a sudden things just kind of took a turn, and there were some loose ends there, and it kind of made me feel like, what's happening right now?
Right.
So, I mean, Margot Robbie, you know, she was cool and all, but she just became so negative and lame in the second half. You know, you're supposed to be Barbie and happy-go-lucky, and everybody loves you, and that's what the first half of it was. And in the second half, she was just kind of a bump on a log. And Will Ferrell was in the movie. I didn't know that he was in there. And
was he funny?
He was funny, but he was funny like Seth Rogen is funny, where it's like he's just like. I mean, Seth Rogen, sorry about that. He's typecasted. Right. He's like just, I'm this like blubbering idiot who's high all the time or something, right? Mm-hmm. Will Ferrell, they made him seem like he was like an 8-year-old trapped in like an adult's body. Right. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't go in there expecting to see world-class cinema, but I was kind of just left like scratching my head at the end of the Barbie movie. Yeah. So. Very interesting. Yeah. I'm glad you gave me a rundown because I was curious. I know that it's taken the country by storm, and it's also nice to see people getting back in movie theaters after COVID. So, it was packed, and everybody and their mother was in there wearing pink, dude. It was crazy. And, I saw all like the TikToks and the Instagram pictures of people wearing pink and the Barbie pink and stuff. Honestly, the Barbie movie was a great movie just to sit back and watch, and I think it'll be a perfect movie that's going to be like a rerun on TNT or PBS or something for years. Yeah, they'll probably make like 20 of them on screen. Sunday at the stadium is lunchbox night. Tin lunchbox. They're cool, man. So, like I know Chris Allen used to collect lunchboxes, our team president, but they were like throwback lunchboxes. And then I was talking about this on the air the other day. Well, not the lunch boxes, but there was this show called The Dukes of Hazzard that I watched when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you watched. And do you remember that there was Bo and Luke Duke, and then there was like the season that they went on strike, and then they replaced them with their cousins Vance and Coy. Do you remember that? No. Well, they had a Vance and Coy edition of the Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox, and so for like collectors, like I don't know if that one's more rare or less rare or whatever, but it's just, and then the other Duke boys came back and they were all 4 on one episode. And I thought, why can't we just keep all the Duke boys here? Because after a season, I kind of like Vance and Coy. But anyway, that's my lunchbox talk. When I was a kid, you'd take the lunchbox to school, and that's how you got your lunch there every day. I mean, true story, I brought my lunch from, first grade through high school. There was times here and there that I bought food from the cafeteria, but the very first time I ever bought food from the cafeteria in first grade, it was cheeseburger and fries, and about 20 minutes later after I ate it, I threw up. Oh, man. And I did not have food at school until high school. Wow. Yeah, no lie. And it's funny you talk about that. Richie and I on the broadcast last night were talking about foods that you don't eat because you got sick eating them. Yeah.
You know, and he was talking about going to Waffle House and getting sick, and he doesn't like going to Waffle House anymore. And so for me, it was Pizza Hut. I had Pizza Hut when I was at like 8 years old, got really sick, and I don't like the smell of it. I just don't like the place. And they didn't, I mean, that was a long time ago.
Good thing there's no food trade for Pizza Hut.
I know. I know if it was, I probably wouldn't say that. No, I've actually been back to Pizza Hut. And I've actually had Pizza Hut too. I can't say I haven't, but it's normally like I'm going kicking and screaming, you know. So, what did your mom pack in your school lunchbox? Peanut butter and jelly.
I was a big ham and cheese guy, or turkey and cheese. Sure, there was the PB and J, of course. You got to go with the Capri Sun juice or the Sips juice that we had, and then there'd be like an apple or an orange or something like that, and then. I mean, to this day, I'm still a big fan of the string cheese.
Oh yeah,
so
I love those.
I'll pop those whenever I want, and pretzels. Big fan of the pretzels. You have a little bit of a crunch in there too. Yeah, mix it up for your palate.
Well, when you're buying the school lunch, I think that packing is as the parent of the transaction, you appreciate the packed lunch, because the buying the lunch gets expensive, although it's really not that expensive when you think about it. But I don't know. Look, a good lunchbox, and I'm excited about this. There's only 500 of these. So if you want one, you probably need to get here early, and we always wish that we could, we could do more of these giveaways, because I know that you guys love them so much, and nothing worse than when someone doesn't get the giveaway because they weren't there early enough. But this is a special one. I like this. I can't wait to have mine and see if my son wants to take it to school. And he doesn't always take the stuff I give him to school. Oh, you know how kids are.
Yeah.
But then he'll decide, like, we got a Smokies staff backpack, the Under Armour backpack. Yep. You remember that one?
Yep.
One of the great staff retreat giveaways. and I got one, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, this is going to be great. I'm going to put my work stuff in this. It's stylish. It's cool. And then I never had it for one day. I brought it home, and he thought, he walked over and took that backpack so fast. Like, it was for him. Like, it never even dawned on him that was mine. So we got another backpack from work, another Smokies backpack. And this one matches the luggage that we got.
Yep.
And I'm like, I got to keep this. Yeah. It's a very plain one. It's not as good as the other one, but it just looks perfect. So I got to keep the set, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta keep
so that's on Sunday. Yeah. That's on Sunday. That'll be fun. Saturday, fireworks and against the Lookouts. And then the Smokies are off, and then down to Biloxi. But I mean, we're starting to get to the stretch run of this season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, the days are getting a little bit chillier, you could say, once we get past this homestand. We'll be in August, but we have plenty of September games this season. It's going to be the first time since I started here in 2019 that we're actually going to be at home for the final game of the regular season.
Oh, wow.
Usually, we're on the road to conclude the season. And I know you get pretty busy with Bama football and all. And for our next homestand, we're going to have our University of Tennessee themed game at the ballpark.
So. Hey, that's one of the best ones. So that's coming up.
That's on the 19th.
On the 19th. So Saturday the 19th.
Saturday the 19th, and not to toot my own horn, but maybe we'll bring it into the next podcast where we're having this Joe Milton bobblehead, and it is fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
So it has a cannon arm, so because he's known for just slinging that thing down the field. So give him a old cannon arm out there, and it comes in 3 different colored jerseys: the black, white, and the orange. Yeah.
Whoa!
So
we went 3 this year.
We'll see what happens when you come up to the gates. You don't know what color you're going to get until you open the box.
That
all the
is cool.
Are the same. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I gotta say, I'm kind of part of that in the beginning. I didn't know what this, but there was a bobblehead doll that I had back in the day that it came in the white or the crimson polo, and you had to go get them at different places. And I thought, like, a few years ago that they should do Tony Vitello in like a orange or a white. But then last year we took it to the next level, which I had nothing to do with. And it was a great idea with Hendon Hooker. It was like, you got the black jersey or I think the orange jersey, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like the golden bobblehead because we knew that he was going to be a Heisman contender, and he was fantastic. And then this one, 3 different colored jerseys.
Yeah,
that's great.
Really awesome, dude. I mean, his hair looks really great with the dreads too. You know, no disrespect to Hendon, but pretty boring with, you know, the shaved
regular
head
hair, regular haircut.
But Joe Milton, I mean, this dude, like, he has that swagger. You see this guy on television interviews and stuff. He's wearing like a Letterman jacket. He's got the jeans with all the holes in them and stuff. He has all these freaking wristbands and all. The guy looks like he's freaking ready to party.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, it seems like this is the type of guy. It's like this guy's focused. He knows that he's the man, and this time to show it off.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, check it out at smokiesbaseball.com. You can get all of your promotional information there. Still time this homestand if you're watching the show when it drops. And then, but we got a lot of great stuff coming, and the season goes into September now. So you got chances to get here and be part of what we're doing. And look, if the thing keeps on going the way that the thing's going right now, then we'd be back in the postseason again, and we got a pretty good lead. But still a lot of baseball left to be played. So come on out and see us at the ballpark. Anything else, Aris?
Hey, you know, what can I say other than that? You know, feel free to follow us online at Smokies Baseball on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that. Keep up with all the fun stuff we have going on with our theme nights and our giveaways. And, of course, follow your favorite team, the Tennessee Smokies.
Do it. And like and follow Wild Pitches. For Aris and Mick, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And don't forget, one more thing. Go in the team store and buy the What Do You Say t-shirt. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Until next time, this was Wild Pitches.